Shalom, shalom. Kahala Yahweh. All praises to Yahweh. Israel, Israel. All right, y'all. We're going to have to do this one. I ain't going to waste a whole lot of time, but I want to drive this nail directly in. And I want to give my disclaimer, too. For a while, I was kind of lost, and I didn't understand what was going on to me. And it seemed like I studied for hours and hours and days on end. And then I start to bring this stuff out, and you get people like, he going from the hip, he freestyling, he just speaking out his ass, he don't know. I've come to realize something. When these people say this, it's really because they're coming from the hip. It's really because they're speaking out their ass. And ultimately, it's because they don't know. And we got this problem in Israel that everybody wants to be the most edified teacher. Everybody wants to be this. Everybody wants to be that. So when you expose somebody to some new information that they didn't get a chance to bring out, instead of looking into it and saying, okay, appreciate your studies, brother, appreciate you helping bring that out, what they do is they mark you off and they write you off as crazy because they didn't bring it out, because they didn't know. So I done started to get to where I'm just starting to understand that's just a part of prophecy, And I want to say this to people on the in crowd and the out crowd who claim you and the truth. When somebody brings something out and you don't know it and you just instantly say, oh, they coming from the hip, they freestyle, and remember, you're the person bearing false witness. And especially if you've been doing this on camera, you have documented recordings of you bearing false witness. With that, let's go ahead and proceed on out. We're going to look today, and we're going to look at Psalm number 83, and I want to show y'all something interesting that I found. So lock you one second. Got to get my pointer out so I can. All right. Let's hit Psalm 83, verse number 7. Psalm 83. Well, hit number 1. A psalm of Asaph. O God, do not hold yourself silent, be not deaf, and be not still, O God. For behold, your foes are in the uproar, those that hate you. Those that hate you have raised their head against your people, and they plot deviously. They take counsel against those sheltered by you. They said, come, let us cut off from nationhood, so Israel's name will be no longer remembered anymore. For they take counsel together unanimously. They strike a covenant against you, the tents of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, Hagarites, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Let's just focus on that real quick. With the inhabitants of Tyre, right? So let's start to show. Let's show that the Babylonian scribes don't start getting sloppy. And they done started messing up. So let me show you this. Now I pulled this up. History of Jews and Carthage. Pay attention. History of Jews and Carthage refers to a history and a preference of people of Jewish ancestry in ancient Carthage. Carthage from Phoenicia, the new city written without vowels as Punic, it says was a city in North Africa located on the eastern side of Lake Tunis across from the center of Tunis or Tunisia. Through Josephus Flavius, or who we know as Flavius Josephus, associated the city's foundation with Jews. Some scholars have conjectured a small group of Jews may have been present in Carthage as early as the Punic area. The earliest evidence of Jewish presence in area dates to the 2nd century CE. Now listen to this. Carthage was founded from Tyre. It says, according to the Bible, the city of Tyre and Sidon were a part of the tribe of Asher. You see that? Pure bullshit. Now let me show you their lies. First thing first. Let's debunk that lie real quick. All right, go into your Torah, and what we're going to do, Let's go to the book of Judges. Now, I'm going to straight up show you that's a lie. And if you've not been studying your Torah, you probably wouldn't even catch that. And me, I deal with a lot of genealogy, so it's going to be hard for me not to catch that. Now, I'm going to show y'all something. Look at Judges, the 3rd chapter. It says, these are the nations that Yahweh let remain to test Israel through them, all of those who did not know the Canaanite wars. Okay, so we did not drive everybody out because we rebelled. And because of that, he left some nations to test us. Now listen what it says. It says, those that did not know the Canaanite wars, they remained only so that the generations of the children of Israel would know to teach them. It says to teach them warfare, but those who preceded them did not need to know. It says, the 5 governors of the Philistines, all the Canaanites, the Sidon, you see that, the Sidonite, the Hivites that dwelled in Mount Lebanon, from the mountain of the plain of Hermon until the approach of Hamath. See that word? Hamath? See that? Then we just go over that on our last one. Hamath, we'll come back to that. They were of God to test Israel through them, to know whether they would hearken to the commandments of Yahweh, which he commanded their forefathers through the hand of Moses. So the children, listen what it says, the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. And Israel took the nations, and it says, Israel took nations, daughters for themselves, wives, and gave their daughters and sons, and they served their gods. See, we went off, but remember, who was amongst these people? Because it don't name them twice, but it names them once. Who was among these people? The Sidonians, right? Now listen to what that just said. Look at what that just said. Excuse me. It says the city of Tyre and Sidon were part of the tribe of Asher. That's bullshit, because we never drove them out. So they was never a part of us. That's a damn lie. And this is why I keep on telling you, the Babylonian scribes are starting to slip up. Because what they starting to do, like I've always said, they have to find a reason to add themselves to us. So let's go and let's look who these people would mutate on. These people would be parts of the people you know as the Greeks. Now let's get that. This is the book of Josephus, 12th chapter, 12th book, chapter number 5. Now look at what it says. It says, when the Samaritans saw the Jews under the suffering, they no longer confessed that they were of their kindred. When the Samaritans saw the Jews under these sufferings, they no longer confessed that they were their kindred. So these people said, we're not related to them, right? Nor that the Temple Mount of Gerizim belonged to the Almighty God. Like I've clearly said, that third temple was not ours. This was according to their nature, as we have already shown, and they now said that they were a colony of Medes and Persians. But see, they started to claim this. They're not them. And indeed, they were a colony of theirs. So they sent ambassadors to Antioch, a letter, whose contents are these: to King Antioch, the god of Epiphanes, a memorial for the Sidonians, okay, who lived at Shechem, our fathers, upon certain frequent plagues, as following certain ancient superstition, had a custom of observing the day which the Jews called the Sabbath. They're talking about us, the Israelites. And when they had erected a temple at the mountain called Gerizim without a name, they offered upon proper sacrifices. Now upon the just treatment, listen, please hear this. Now upon the just treatment of the wicked Jews, those who managed the affairs, supposing that they were kin to them and practiced as they do, make us liable to the same accusations, although we originally Sidonians. So you see that? They are originally Canaanites. So who are these people today? Now let's read between the lines. Sidon used to have a thriving Jewish community stretching back for more than 2,000 years. Is that right? So the Canaanites had a Jew? No. In 1974, there were still 1,500 Jews living in Sidon, it says, but then came the Lebanon Civil War. The last Jewish families fled along with thousands of others. But remember, these people would have never been Israelites. Because just like I just showed you in the book of Josephus, we originally be Sidonians. Okay, now look at what it says. I'm going to show you how the Babylonian scribes starting to slip up. It says the Sidon synagogue is one of the oldest synagogues in the world. It's located in the old city of Sidon. Now listen what it says. Sidon, language, Arabic, French, religion, Judaism, the history of the Jews in Lebanon encompasses the present Jews of present day. How is that possible? How is that possible if those same people have already admitted that they're Canaanites? Y'all don't, man. People don't get it. Watch this. So we showed that. So let's remember. Now let's track this all back. The oldest synagogue in the world is in Delos, Greece, between 150 and 128. Why is that important? Because who would have built the first synagogue? This is the Apocrypha. This is the cover page for my Maccabees. Look what it says. The book of the prime account of the Jewish war and independence fought against Antiochus Epiphanes, and it covers the years of 167 to 134. And this covers the years 150 to 128 BC. Antiochus Epiphanes built them first synagogues. So if you can't peep who he really is, and Antiochus Epiphanes is nothing but an Edomite. See, this is what y'all don't get. See, everybody in Psalm 83, these people will now start to call themselves the Jews. And when you read and you see the Jews, you think they're talking about us. They're not. It's not. So let's get this again, because it's time to go hard from this point on. Now listen, I want to show you something. It says, now I'm going to get this. This is the Apocrypha, 1 Maccabees, chapter number 5, starting at verse number 1. And it happened when the heathen round about heard that the altar had been rebuilt and the sanctuary rededicated before, it says, it had been sanctuary rededicated as before, it came that it made them very angry, and they resolved to destroy the descendants of Jacob that were among them. Now, who did this? It says, and they began to kill and ravage among the people, and Judas fought against the sons of Esau in Idumea. You see that? Antiochus Epiphanes, he's an Edomite. And if you really want to track it, we can track him back to Amalek. So you really been thrown off on who's who. Now let's go down. Look at what it says. They were still reading their letter when the other messengers arrived from Galilee with their clothes open, and a report of the same effect, saying that the people from Ptolemais and Tyre and Sidon and all of Galilee, of the aliens who had gathered against them and said to destroy us. Keep on telling y'all, man. Every time you see that word J-E-W, that's not talking about us. And now we understand that some of the J-E-Ws are, Sidonians, the Canaanites. Right? Now, let's go back. Go back into Psalm 83. Verse number 7. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab, Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre. With the inhabitants of Tyre, right? So who is Tyre? A lot of people being tripped up on this one. And let me just say this. Israelites, please stop doing this. Every time you go into the Torah of the Bible and you don't understand who people are. The first thing people say, oh, them are Hamites. That was just a tribe of Hamites. No, it's not. And I'm tired of hearing that. So let's do this. Genesis 10, the sons of Japheth. Please pay attention. The sons of Japheth, Gomer and Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Mashik, and Tyrus. Let's click on that. Let's click on that. Now, when we look at this word, there is no root word in here, so we can't completely trust it, right? But what does it say? Tyrek. You still don't believe that's the people of Tyre, right? And all you're going to just keep on getting is this Greek word, Tyrus. See, the Babylonian scribes done messed up on this one. One more time. We be originally Sidonians. Right? Now, when I go into the Brenton and I look for that name, it doesn't even pop up Tyre. It pops up Rhodanians. I'm going to show y'all something real funny about that. Right? Let me get this online etymology out here real quick. Let me show you something. And I learned this off watching that old movie. Now, yeah. Now, check this out. Now, when we went to the Britain, we found that name Rhodanians, right? So watch this. We go to online etymology and I go to Rhodes. Look at what I get. It says Greek island of I can't pronounce that. From Greek Rhodos, perhaps Rhodos, rose. It says pomegranate, more likely room, a Greek name of Phoenicia, Erod, snake, serpent. You see that? Erod, the actual Abre word, means serpent, for the serpents which are said to have anciently infested the islands. Serpents, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy. 32, I'm sorry. We went over this, man. We went over this. Let's get it out the church. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32. Because I showed this. We showed this when we did a breakdown a few weeks ago. Deuteronomy 32. And 32. For their vineyard is from the vineyard of Sodom and the fields of Gomorrah. And their grapes are the grapes of gall, so clusters of bitterness was given to them. Serpents, venom is their wine, the poison of cruel vipers. Those serpents in Psalm 83, those same people who've been claiming to be you. So let's look at who are the people of Sidon. Man, you can play around how y'all fucking want to, man. You don't understand still don't understand who Canaanites are, do you? Even though they admitted this all through their history, you keep on being fooled off this blackity black Africa shit. This is why you will not get this understanding. Straight up told you who the Sidonians are. I ain't telling you everybody who look like that is Sidonian over there. No. But the people who still live in those parts who can say, oh, we can track our history 2,000 years ago. Them same people who say they can track their history back more than 2,000 years, them Canaanites. Very simple. Very simple. Well, Israel, I ain't finna do all this much longer. You should be able to see this on your own now. Deuteronomy 32:32. For their vine is the vine of Sodom, and the fields of Gomorrah, and their grapes are grapes of gall and clusters of bitter. Their wine is poison of dragons, serpents, and cruel venom of asp vipers. Psalm 83. The Sidonians. Sidonians. Straight up told you who they was. And if anybody go once again, Book of Josephus, book number 12, chapter number 4. Those that manage the affairs, supposing that they were kin to them and practice as they do, make us liable to the same accusations, although we be originally Sidonians. With that, I want to say all praise to Yahweh. The Babylonian scribes are getting sloppy because this word is coming out. I want to say Kahala Yahweh, Shalom, y'all.